What is going on, everybody? It's the Frost, and we're here for another AEW on TNT review. AEW going off the air about 20 minutes ago. This was another action-packed episode of AEW. Jericho on the mic, again, giving you gold as we set a title match between him and Scorpio Sky for next week. We had the tribute match between Private Party and Proud and Powerful for the fallen comrade Matt Travis, which happened the day of Full Gear. Great to see AEW doing something like that, just because they are indie guys. They know they're from the indies. They know that it was just something fantastic. And was I the only one who noticed this, that the entire show felt bloated, absolutely bloated with commercials? I mean, AEW also with these picture-in-pictures. I don't know why. We have Chris Jericho, who's supposed to come out for his announcement halfway through the show, and he and Jake Hager were walking down the walkway, and he gets to the librarians, and we have this on TV, and then they go straight to picture-in-picture. So he's sitting there talking and doing whatever he's with Peter Avalon and Leva Bates. We don't hear it. So we're seeing what was probably a good freaking segment because Jericho is just that great, being ruined and thrown off to the side because TNT or whoever's in charge of that shit decided we're going to go to picture-in-picture, even though we do not hear what is going on in these picture-in-pictures. The first match was Nick Jackson versus Fenix. Of course, Matt is off with injury because he got put through the stage last week. Speaking of the stage this week, there was an upgrade or a change to the stage somewhat. Usually we would see the two screens off above the tunnels, and then we'd have a smaller screen that just says AEW or AEW Dark at night when they're having the matches. They did not have that this week. They had the tunnel still, but we had one big, huge LED screen, which was fine. No opening video package this week. Just we went from Pyro straight to the show. They were from the Farmers Coliseum in Indianapolis, Indiana, beginning at 8 p.m. Nick Jackson's Phoenix was your first match of the night. That was the first match, and then we had ourselves Britt Baker versus Hikaru Shida, which was also another match that was. We had a couple of top 5 battles this week. We had Hikaru Shida versus Britt Baker in the women's division, Darby Allin and John Moxley in the men's division. We had the Battle Royal that they gave out. That's going to be for a diamond ring with the winners having a one-on-one match next week to give us a winner of this diamond ring, which I don't know what they're doing with this diamond ring. What makes this diamond ring so special? What makes it so important? Is it going to be something that can be defended? Is it going to be something? What is it going to be worth something? Will the winner become number 1 contender to the champion? What is going to be so special about this entire diamond ring shtick that they're doing? I don't know. I remember in Ring of Honor, I know Cody had the Ring of Honor, which made sense in Ring of Honor because the thing is called Ring of Honor. So we had the Ring of Honor. This, I don't know what they're going to do. And with the winners, I honestly feel that the one winner is going to be the person who wins this thing, just because it's probably going to be something to help elevate his status. And then we had the fantastic promo between Jericho and one Scorpio Sky and the rest of SCU. That was just great television. Luchasaurus took on Peter Avalon. Luchasaurus back in his very first match since coming back from a hamstring injury. Great to see him back. Wasn't a big match, but it was great to see him back. And then we had the match that was for Matt Travis, the Private Party versus Santana Ortiz match. That was for what we got to see because, again, too many commercials in this entire show. I don't know what it was tonight, but it just seemed like there was sections where it's like they would have the picture-in-picture, and usually when picture-in-picture happens, you have commercials, and then you go, and when the picture-in-picture's done, you go back to the show. We had it twice on this show where they went picture-in-picture, and the commercials kept going. We had sometimes where it was like 8, 9 fucking commercials in a row. That I think is absolutely illegal. I think it's supposed to be 8, like a minute and a half at most. We were sitting here at least 2-3 minutes with nothing but commercials. That is fucking ridiculous. But like we'd have picture in picture, and then halfway through picture in picture, the picture would go away and it's just commercials. I don't know what it was tonight. I don't know if that was TNT's fault or AEW's fault, but my word, that was awful. Then it was announced that Pac and Kenny Omega will be in a match next week, and then Jon Moxley versus Darby Allin was your main event. Absolute excellent show tonight. This was just them building on what they got. There was just so much action, so much great stuff. Chris Jericho, every single week, he has a microphone showing you why this dude won the AEW championship, why he is the AEW champion. And I hope anybody who had any criticism for Chris Jericho winning the AEW championship at All Out can go suck an egg, please. If you still have any, you sit there and say, "Oh, if WWE did this, you people would be shitting all over them." There's a different story, and Jericho, it's different companies. WWE has been established since the 60s, AEW is just getting started, and every single goddamn week, Chris Jericho shuts each and every one of those detractors up. Nick Jackson versus Rey Fenix. This was fantastic. This was the match of the night on the show. I will have to say, for whatever reason, I believe it was at Full Gear. They did the scrums that they usually do. And somebody asked Tony Khan about the audio. How the crowd didn't sound like it was that enthused, even though people who were live there said they were loud as can be. So I feel this one was one of those shows that they tried to have the volume for the crowd being up as high as they could be. Unfortunately, you didn't turn the commentators up. So we're listening to this match and watching this match. I can hardly hear what Tony Schiavone's saying whatsoever. He says something and it's like, what did he say? I mean, Excalibur, same thing. Could hardly hear him. JR was like the one person who seemed to actually be able to hear him for the most part, but it seemed like after this match, either the crowd died down, they turned down the crowd volume, or they turned the commentators' volume up. It's great if you have the crowd volume up as max as you can, because I want to hear the crowd. If it's a loud crowd, I want to hear it, but you gotta turn the commentators up, because if I can't hear what the commentators are saying, why the hell do you have commentators? I don't know. This is week 8. Week 8 of AEW's show on TNT. They should be past these little hiccups. They should be on just hitting their stride and going a million miles a minute, everything clicking on all cylinders, and we're still getting hiccups like this. They still have times in these shows where we're missing spots. 8 weeks, you had months and months and months to work on this in practice runs and everything, which I don't know if they did any practice runs. I would have done that if I was them. But this is still a problem where we have hiccups left and right. I figured we would have been done with this already, and we would be just not a complaint about the production side of things. But again, here we are, November 20th of 2019. They are 7 weeks into this show, and we're still having production issues. Where was I? Okay. So, I'm sorry about that. If you hear a little snap or swallow anything, my chair snapped and broke on one of the cheap plastic chairs. But, we move on. Fenix and Jackson had an awesome match. Yes, the commentary wasn't best because I don't know what they were doing. Production, again, we are having just the production in these shows. We should be over these hiccups. It is the 7th week, as I mentioned before. It's time to move past this. Something that we should be over with already, and I just don't get why the production, they have good production values. I hear they have a really good production team, but why do they keep missing spots? Why do we still have hiccups here and there, from crowd noises to commentary? Can't hear them. What is up with the commentary? What is up with the show, or this group not getting everything down to where it's just like that? The match on their hands, Nick Jackson and Fenix, awesome. These guys, of course, Nick Jackson actually posted a couple hours ago before the show that he spent 1,700 days or plus since he's had a singles match. So these guys go back and forth early. The two end up on the floor pretty quickly, lots of reversals. Fenix stops Nick from getting in the ring. Nick stops Phoenix from getting in the ring, and then they both jump in the ring and go for stereo drop kicks. That leads to a stalemate. The crowd is enjoying themselves for this match. Both trade chops on the chest. They end up back on the floor again. Nick with a step up, twisting senton. Phoenix ducks it and hits a cutter on the floor, rolling cutter. Back in the ring, Phoenix with a hard senton down on Nick, crashed right down on his chest. That one looked like it hurt. Nick recovers and hits a flurry of kicks. Bulldog, running knee strike, cover for 2, dual super kicks. Nick selling his leg injury from Full Gear. Both end up dancing on the ropes. Nick with a second rope Hurricane Rana. That was absolutely fantastic. Cover 2. Crowd is really feeling this match. Multiple reversals for both wrestlers. Nick tries for a super kick. Nobody there. Phoenix with one on his own that lands flush. Nick with a super kick after. Phoenix with a kip up and lands a super kick on his own. Both guys down and Rick Knox starts the 10 count. Phoenix walks the second rope and hits a Hurricane Rana. Absolutely just crazy. He sends Nick crashing to the floor. Back in the ring, Phoenix with a step-up moonsault lands on his feet. But Nick with 3 kicks to the head. Phoenix up and hits a cutter. Nick charges in, pin for a 2. Both fight to the apron, on the apron. Landing strikes. Nick with a stellar German suplex and on the apron. Nick sends Phoenix into the ring. Springboard facebuster. He goes back to the apron. Springboard Canadian Destroyer, like what Ricky Morton did. Ricky Morton did at Full Gear. Absolutely fluid, beautiful. I wish that would have been the finish. Springboard face, Canadian Destroyer 2. Nick goes right into the sharpshooter in the middle of the ring. Crowd with the AEW chants. Phoenix gets up, gets to the ropes, gets up, hits the super kick. Springboard spinning heel kick, spinning muscle buster bomb into 1, 2, 3. Phoenix pins Nick Jackson. He is 1-0 in his singles time in AEW. Pentagon will be on AEW Dark. I believe it's against Trent, so that will be a hell of a match to see next week. Post-match, Nick puts his hands out, but Phoenix just walks out. Crowd boos that move as they should. He is, healing it up a little bit. So, excellent match to start off the show. In my opinion, was the best match of the night. Not saying that the next few matches weren't that good. Just the best match overall. It seemed like outside of the main event, this was the hottest 4-way match the crowd was of the night. Hikaru Shida making her return to AEW after spending a couple weeks in Japan. Takes on the Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. This is a battle of number 1 and number 2 in the women's rankings. They mentioned that a couple times on this commentary, so this was a way to hopefully get Hikaru Shida, if she wins this match, into a title match against Riho. And honestly, in my opinion, if Hikaru Shida secures a match with Riho, she needs to beat Riho. I don't want to hear anything else about this, but Riho is not believable as champion. She never has been, she never will be. And on top of that, here we go. Britt Baker, Hikaru Shida. Britt Baker is... They mentioned how Britt Baker has only been in the ring for about 4 years. Shida's been in the ring for about 10. Shida, of course, isn't full-time with AEW. She does go work on events in Japan. So I think that's why they don't want to go full stop with her. Unlike Britt Baker, who's only doing AEW, it seems like. Britt Baker, 4 years in the ring. She's getting there, but she's not there yet. She definitely, in my opinion, she needs more work. She needs more than one match a week. One match every so often. She needs to have that seasoning. This isn't WWE where you could go work in the Performance Center and get yourself up. She needs to go. I know she's a dentist, and this is what hurts her, is because, in my opinion, for Britt Baker, wrestling is not her is a hobby. Dentistry is her career. This is a hobby. It's a nice multi-million-dollar hobby for her because she's working in AEW. But honestly, I know dentistry is what she's probably wanted to do her entire life. You need to choose being a dentist or being a wrestler. Because honestly, you will never get better to this point to where we can actually see you being a top star in this company if you're going to be wrestling only on TNT or only on YouTube, and that's it. You're not wrestling, and maybe a pay-per-view. You're not wrestling in other independent shows. Pentagon and Phoenix wrestle about 10 times a month. And it's not just, like, maybe 20 times a month, and it's not just for AEW. They work AAA, they work other places. Shida goes over and works goes to Japan and works other shows. Even Riho, the women's champion, goes over and works in DDT with Kenny Omega sometimes and other places. You got to get more fucking action than just once or twice a week, depending on when it is. But honestly, Britt Baker needs more seasoning if she's going to be considered, to me, a contender for the top title. Even Bea Priestley, who she beat at Full Gear, is somebody who actually, she works for Stardom still, and she's working there all the damn time. She's getting her work in, she's getting in her licks, she's getting the seasoning that she needs. So when she finally says, I'm going to be working for AEW full time, if that happens, she's going to be ready. Whereas Britt Baker, if she sticks for once a week or once every few weeks working for AEW only, she's going to be not 6-7 months from now be ready to be in the next level. She's going to be 6 or 7 years away from that. But all in all, this was a pretty decent match here. Of course, Shida helped try to get Britt Baker through this as best as she could. One of the things that Britt Baker really needs to work on is her timing. There are times that you just notice in these matches that her timing is just so average to piss poor. They pushing her. She has a nice, decent record. Of course, she is the number one in the rankings. Maybe this match changes that with Hikaru Shida winning this match. But there's just, like, she has potential. She looks good most of the time, but it just shows you that working in the ring as much as you can without overdoing it, as some people have done. You have people like John Moxley when he was in WWE working 1,000+ matches a year for about a few years. It's just that she's not gonna. It's gonna be a while before we see Britt Baker actually get that timing down, which is what you get when you have more matches. If AEW decided to do like one Saturday house shows or something, like a Saturday Sunday house show or something, just to get women and men like a Britt Baker, like a Private Party, who are still green and need that seasoning, it would help these men and women more than it would hurt them. I'm not saying have a 300 days a year schedule like WWE, but AEW in the long run is going to need to have some kind of traveling thing where it's not just Wednesdays. You're working on Saturdays sometimes, maybe Sundays sometimes, getting that time down so that a team like Private Party gets to where they need to be. Santana Ortiz, I think, are good where they're at. Lucha Bros are seasoned veterans. They're going to be looking great every single time you see them. The Young Bucks, seasoned veterans. SCU, seasoned veterans. Like guys like Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy would benefit from having once in a while a house show or a live event for them to go that's not on TV. Just like Britt Baker, who, yes, she has timing issues, but a live event that's not on television or on AEW Dark, where she can work on those, get those reps in, get that time in to get those timing issues down. So when she's trying to go for a move like a drop kick or something, and she misses that timing up, when working on those house shows, she'll be able to get that down. So the next time you see it on TV, boom, she hits it flawlessly. Just something that's like. Basically, it comes down to this. Shida with a running knee strike, cover to cover. Baker reverses right into a lockjaw, though. Baker with the swing, but unfortunately, Shida gets her feet on the ropes. Baker hits the swinging neck breaker but gets a 2. She goes for the low thrust kick, blocked. Shida with a thumb to the eye, rolls up Baker for a 2. Thought that was funny. Shida with a Falcon Arrow. The Falcon Arrow, I will have to say on Shida, was not a good-looking Falcon Arrow. She could barely get up Britt Baker to get it over. So that right there, I don't know if that was a Shida fault or Britt Baker fault. If it couldn't be both. Maybe like I said, that's one of those timing things. It's like you're supposed to get them up and then be able to pull them over. Britt was still hanging halfway over. You want them to be like hanging upside down, like you were going to do a suplex before you bring them over. Baker was still hanging a little bit, and Shida did everything she could to get the Falcon Arrow off without hurting Britt. But that is definitely one of those timing issues that you see, is that you just notice them so badly. AEW, yes, they have the dark matches. That's where you see a Big Swole or a Shazzy, Shauna, or like any of these other women they bring in for the most part. Allie's been on dark a lot. It's not enough. Just having them work dark matches and that's it for your show is not enough. They need to have more matches. Yes, Britt Baker was on dark last night. She was on TNT tonight. Not enough. And technically that's once a week. That's two matches shown this week, but that was once last week and once this week. That's not enough. Shoot her with a Falcon Arrow, she gets a 2. Shoot her with a running knee strike, cover 1, 2, 3. She is your winner again. Hikaru Shida, hopefully that means she moves up to the number 1 spot, and if they decide to have a championship match, it will be Shida versus Riho 2. And honestly, in my opinion, Riho needs to drop that title like that. Then they talk about the Dark Order and what these guys are about. So they send us to this really odd video package. Some heavyset slug is walking in the subway, checking on his glasses. Another guy bumps into him on purpose and steps on his glasses. Him and his buddy laugh as they walk away. The guy gets on the subway with his glasses, and then you start hearing this commercial on the subway, which is looking like basically a cult. There's a strength in numbers. The spokesman says, "We will help you become like just one of us." And I don't like if they put it on YouTube, you should check this out because I don't know how to explain this. It's pretty much the guys like, if you're feeling lonely, if you're feeling lost, come on, come to our side. We'll show you how to be just like us. And hashtag join the Dark Order, I think is what it was. Yeah, join Dark Order. Join Dark Order. But we will find you. I don't know what the hell this was supposed to do, but that was just it wasn't disturbing, it was just, what the fuck is this? It's honestly not though. If they're going in a different direction with the Dark Order, I can understand it, because what they've been doing with the Dark Order here until now has been an absolute flop. The Librarians are more over as heels than the Dark Order is. I'm just saying. The Dynamite Dozen Battle Royal. Final 2 participants face off next week in singles match action. Winner gets the AEW Diamond Ring. Adam Hangman Page, Chuck Taylor, Orange Cassidy, Kip Sabian with Pound Out before, Jimmy Havoc, Jungle Boy, Marco Stunt, Pentagon Jr., Sonny Kiss, Joey Janela, MJF, and the badass Billy Gunn. Billy Gunn got the biggest pop out of everybody, in my opinion, until Orange Cassidy had his little shtick later on. A Phoenix comes out, and this Phoenix was wearing a different mask. He comes over, says something in Pentagon's ear. It looked like they looked to do the Zero Miedo, but he takes the mask off, and it's Christopher Daniels. He grabs Pentagon's arm, pulls him over towards him. Pentagon goes to swing. Christopher Daniels ducks, and Pentagon Jr. gets dumped out by Sonny Kiss. I think it was by Sonny Kiss. Sonny Kiss twerks to MJ, twerks to Billy Gunn. Billy Gunn seems to like this. MJF comes over and tosses Sonny Kiss out of the ring. He's doing the whole cry thing, and Billy Gunn not happy about this. And MJF's like, calm down, dude, calm down. Billy Gunn sends Marco Stunt out, who jumps onto his back. Havoc gets dumped out too, but he grabs his staple gun, comes back in, and staples the hell out of everybody. I don't think he had any staples in this time because nobody was bleeding profusely like the last time he had a staple gun. Jericho goes up to the top rope. When we go to commercial break, we come back and it's shown that he got eliminated by Shawn Spears, who hit him with a chair and eliminates him. Then Orange Cassidy, who's just sitting down, looking like he's taking a nap in the ring, gets up, starts doing his powerful leg kicks, those I don't give a fuck type leg kicks to Billy Gunn. I still don't get the whole MJF shit. It's goofy, but it's not. I guess it's not that bad, but it's not. Well, he starts doing that. He's gonna do the step back and the step up shot to Billy Gunn. MJF takes him and throws him over the top rope. MJF just starts talking trash to the crowd. Billy Gunn behind him, not happy. He walks right into Billy Gunn, turns around. Billy Gunn's like, that's twice. He shoves MJF shoves Billy Gunn, and then Billy Gunn's like, suck it, and hits the Famouser, throws MJF over the ropes, but MJF hangs on. Gunn picks up MJF, but Wardlow comes out for the distraction. MJF with the eye rake, Hangman Page with the buckshot lariat, and sends Gunn out of the match. Like, Billy Gunn, honestly, outside of the Orange Cassidy shtick, got the biggest pop of the entire match. We're down to Sabian Page, Jungle Boy, and Taylor. And they don't know what happened to MJF, but obviously, if you see where this was going, you knew MJF wasn't eliminated. Taylor ends up on the apron. Ford hits his foot, and Sabian kicks him off the apron. He gives Penelope Ford a kiss, turns around, and Jungle Boy hits a Hurricane Rana, sending him out of the match. And the announcers or commentators are like, oh, it's going to be Hangman and Jungle Boy later next week. Jungle Boy did not get back in the ring. He's still hanging on the apron when all of a sudden MJF, who was just hiding in plain sight, pulls Jungle Boy down off the apron, and it's going to be Page and MJF next week. So that will be the winner of that match wins the Diamond Ring. Honestly, I say MJF's going to win it because why the hell would he not win it? Then, oh boy, the best thing I think I've seen all week. Chris Jericho once again gives you fucking gold. Chris Jericho and Jake Hager make their way to the ring. Crowd is booing Jericho pretty good. He tells people to sit down and shut up when he has an announcement to make. Now they boo him. And Moore says he. Before we do that, I got a little out of character last week. I went out there. I threw a tantrum. I destroyed a couple things. I got fined for it. That wasn't something that That's not something indicative of a champion. And I want to. He's trying to say, he's like, I really want to say, he kept trying to struggle to say, I'm sorry. So he says, tell him, Big Hurt. And Jake Hager finally talks and says, he said he was sorry. Next week in Chicago, he will finally get the thank you he deserves from everyone, including the higher-ups in TNT and AEW. It will be Chris Jericho's Thanksgiving thank you celebration. He says, I had to say that I'm hands the mic, puts the mic in Jake Hager's face again. He says sorry that his celebration won't be in front of a live crowd of bumpkins, but he will see them looking good on TV next week. He also mentioned how Chicago has two baseball teams and a hockey team, so they're much better than Indianapolis, who only has a football team, which is okay, and the Pacers, who are, the Pacers. And out comes SCU. This is where it just got fucking good. I mean, Jericho is doing good right now, but this is where it got fucking fantastic. Sky says Jericho forgot to mention why he threw that tantrum last week. It was because I pinned you and gave you your first ever AEW loss. Fans with a big, huge you got pinned. Sky said his phone blew up after what he did. Even his old crush, Melanie Hopkins, I think he said, called him and they're going out next week. Crowd with the Melanie chant. Sky says I didn't mean to embarrass you last week, so I want to say I'm sorry because I didn't mean to embarrass you. Crowd with the, oh. Jericho says he wasn't embarrassed. And I've seen Melanie. She's gained a lot of weight since high school. Guy says, I like big butts and I cannot lie. I'm sorry, me and anybody else who talks about this segment does this segment no justice. I'm just telling you right now. I'll go through it again more. But this thing you must see. I don't care if you watch NXT. I don't care if you're like, I don't know if I want to watch AEW. Who's AEW? Yada, yada, yada. You have got to see this segment. This was fantastic. Jericho says Sky is not in his league, but he wants a one-on-one match with Sky. I'm going to wipe the floor with you. It's going to be it's going to be the pinnacle of my thank you celebration next week by wiping the floor with you all around the arena, baby boy. Daniel says they would have to have a month before that match like that. Jericho takes the bait and says, nope, how about next week? He says, oh, you need a month? Oh, you need 2 weeks? No, it's going to be next week. And this goes back and forth, and it's like, it's just so fucking good. I can't even tell you how great this is. Becky Kazarian then says to Sky, they better not make sure it's for the title because Jericho gets a bit weird about the title. He's spitting in pig Latin. And of course, Sky says, I don't deserve a title shot. And Jericho says, what did you say? He says, I don't deserve a title shot. Jericho asks if he wants a title shot. Sky says no. Jericho says, well, that's too bad. They got it. And he says, it's official because they shake hands. Brad is eating this shit up. Sky names Jericho close in and says Jericho may not think he has a chance, but maybe I've been waiting 15 years for a chance like this. Next week, I'm going to beat you for the title and make the champion into the bitch. And then I believe Jericho hit Scorpio Sky with the microphone. I don't know, but Scorpio Sky was down, and then Hager and Jericho are brawling with Daniels and Kazarian while he's down. Out comes Santana Ortiz and Sammy Guevara to beat up SCU with Jericho and Hager. Michael Nakazawa and Brandon Cutler, the Job Squad, come out and help, but they get knocked off immediately. Jericho ends up hitting the Juice effect on Sky, knocking him out with the rest of the group dispatches SCU. From the back comes Marco's stunt. Jericho immediately knocks him to the mat. Jungle Boy follows and gets a shot, but is dropped too by Jericho. Then Luchasaurus enters the ring and faces off as everybody but Jake Hager gets out of the ring, and it comes down to Luchasaurus and Jake Hager. Hager grabs his watch, pulls it off, and tosses it off like he's ready to go. Then he just slowly backs away. So maybe, just maybe, in the future, it's going to be Luchasaurus and Jake Hager. That'll be interesting. We go to break. When we're going to picture-in-picture, and we see Peter Avalon making his way to the ring. Who's this jobber going to get squashed by this time? Well, apparently it was Luchasaurus. He says, glad to see you back, big boy. And it's quick one. And he says, I'm going to turn you into motor oil, you old fossil. Puts the mic down, gets his out of his robe. Roundhouse, back kick to his head. And then he picks him back up and hits him with a roundhouse, I believe it is. 1, 2, 3. Luchasaurus beats Peter Avalon. In my opinion, it's a squash match. But hey, he's back. It's great to see Luchasaurus doing something. It's great to see him back, actually, as an active competitor. I know it was a squash match. Maybe he's not allowed to do much right now. We'll have to wait and see. But great to see Luchasaurus actually being active more than just, a run-in. But when we go back before the Luchasaurus match and we go to everything that happened between SCU and Chris Jericho, Jake Hager, that was... I cannot remember the last time I had so much fun watching an entire segment like that. From Jericho in the beginning, then SCU coming out. Scorpio Sky is going to be a fucking megastar. I can totally see him becoming AEW champion. Not next week. That's not happening. That's going to be Jericho winning. But in the future, maybe if SCU runs the course because Kazarian and Daniels want to, call it a career and just be backstage personnel, Scorpio Sky is being set up to be somebody who could be a main player in this company once SCU eventually calls it quits and disbands, or because Daniels says, you know what, I've been doing this since the 90s. I think it's time for me to turn in my boots. Maybe he wants to be the talent relation guy, and that's it. Same thing with Kazarian. I don't know what he's actually doing backstage, but maybe he wants to be a coach. I don't know. And if that happens and those two go off their separate ways, or here's the thing. If Christopher Daniels goes and wants to, just call it a career, you have a perfect setup to set him up for good by having not Christopher Daniels, but Kazarian and Scorpio Sky in a feud that sees Scorpio Sky become one of the next top big faces in the company. It will be fucking fantastic. Private Party versus Santana and Ortiz. This, of course, if you know anything about these four guys, this was the Matt Travis tribute match Santana came out wearing a match that said a shirt that said "in loving memory of Matt Travis." Of course, Matt Travis was the 18th. I think they said the 18th cyclist killed in New York this year. He was killed by hit and run. It's a damn shame to see somebody lose their life at an early age in a very despicable way. I hope whoever fucking did this should be prosecuted to the furthest extent that they can be. Probably won't be because again it was a hit and run. Those happen a lot in New York. They sent the 18th one this year, but it was great. You had Private Party come out with a shirt and put it on the ring ropes, and it actually stayed there until Ortiz went over, put his hand on top of it, and then lifted it up. So great to see that. This one, I wish we would have got a lot more without commercials. This match was the most bogged down by commercials. There was 2 commercial spots in this match, and half the match was either in picture or during a commercial break. Like, they went to picture-in-picture, and then they cut to a commercial. Like, they cut out the picture halfway through, and we were watching commercials instead of this match. For what we got to see, this was awesome. These 4 guys know each other well because they are from the House of Glory camp. They are from House of Glory. And they went out there to give this guy, that one of their brothers, one of their fallen brothers, a tribute match that he deserved. And I'm telling you right now, I never met or seen Matt Travis wrestle or ever had anything. I'm telling you right now, that guy is probably, wherever he's at, looking at these guys, probably happy as hell that these guys went out there and gave you a fantastic match. I am happy that House of Glory and Matt Travis and all this stuff was like done by AEW. Of course, the Young Bucks were the first ever House of Glory Tag Team Champions back in the day. So it's great to see that they know. They know that this meant a lot to these guys, and it's just great to see that AEW went out of their way to do this. So I know other companies do this too. I know House of Glory a couple weeks ago had their own tribute show, which is rightfully so what they should have did. But just to see, the fact that this match happened this way was fucking awesome. And you saw after the match was over, I think it was Isaiah Cassidy pointed to his wrist, which he had his arm taped up. And it had initials. It might have been Matt Travis's initials, but he pointed to it a couple times and pointed up. So awesome, just awesome stuff. I can't even go into the match because it was a good match. These 4 guys know each other real well. Private Party ends up winning with the gin and juice. And again, what was if you were there live, if you knew what the circumstances behind the match is, you got yourself a hell of a match. And anybody who is a fan of House of Glory, if you know about House of Glory, if you've watched many of House of Glory, this match, I'm sure you guys seen this match a couple times in House of Glory over the last year or so. So great to see that. Gin and juice for the win. Private Party picks up the win. But after the match, because towards the end of the match, Santana had the slapjack, which finally fucking Excalibur said right. Took him about a week and a half because he was saying blackjack earlier in the show, but it was a slapjack. But he had a slapjack ready to attack. I think it was Isaiah Cassidy. Nick Jackson comes out, steals it away. Cassidy blasts Ortiz, Enziguri on Santana. Quinn back in, gin and juice for the Hurricane Rana combo cutter, 1, 2, 3. After the match, Sammy Guevara comes down, starts brawling with Nick Jackson. It's a big brawl between these guys, and then Dustin Rhodes, the American Nightmare, the Natural, wrong one. The Natural comes out, jeans, t-shirt, face paint on one side, starts rocking people with that cast, fights off Guevara, Santana, and Ortiz. All 4 of these guys celebrate after the match. So great little thing right there. We get a video package of Kenny Omega. He's lifting the smallest weights I think I've ever seen in somebody lift. Says he's not a promo guy nor a hardcore guy, but you've been seeing me doing a couple things I haven't done previously. People feel like I've lost my marbles, and I feel like it came from losing to Pac. And I don't know how it happened. I don't know if it was the power of the beast picking your name out of a hat, but I don't care. I get a chance at revenge next week. And next week is my start in my road to redemption, and it starts going through you. And then he goes back to lifting weights, only like 5 to 10 pounds of weight on the bar. And that was that. So, nice little short, sweet, and to the point thing. He feels like his Like, even though I figured his descent into madness was his match with Jericho, but he's not going near Jericho anytime soon. So, yeah. Great little thing there. Pac versus Omega. Hangman versus MJF next week. As well as Cody's going to be back next week. And so much more to come. It's going to be interesting. But before we do that, we had Jon Moxley versus Darby Allin. This match, of course, comes from last week when Jon Moxley had a quick match against Michael Nakazawa when Michael Nakazawa got his ass kicked. And then he sent out a challenge to anybody in the AEW locker room. And the first person to answer that challenge was Darby Allin. Before this match even got started, I guess, and it's funny because back when he first started wrestling in New Japan, right when he won the match, won the U.S. title from Juice Robinson, he had an interview where Jon Moxley said he is done wrestling in jeans except for on special occasions, I guess. Well, I guess that's not happening because he has a singles match tonight, still wrestling in jeans. Single match last week, still wrestling in jeans. I guess the tights just weren't working out for him. Some nitpick there. But he's coming through the crowd, he's getting past the barricade, when Darby Allin just, like a cannonball, comes out and nails Jon Moxley. Right, like, just knocks him the fuck out. They start brawling. He came out with a body bag, by the way. Wait, he didn't come out with a body bag. He came out in a body bag with his skateboard, having a couple guys just walk him, just carrying him on his shoulders like it's a fucking funeral, just laying him on the stage with the letters M-O-X, Mox. So he unzips, has his camera with a GoPro attached to it for whatever reason, rolls to the ring, and he brings the body bag with him. So again, Moxley's coming through the crowd and everything. Suicide dive to Moxley. These guys brawl for about a few minutes on the outside, and then they get to the ring. I'm going to be brutally honest. These guys had a match, I believe it was at Bar Wrestling. It was one of Moxley's first matches back on the independent circuit. Probably his first match in independent circuits since he signed with AEW. And I know it wasn't the best camera angles, but I enjoyed that match better than this one. This was an okay match. Was it main event worthy? I don't believe so. This was also the 4 versus 5 in the men's top 10 rankings. Of course, Moxley is 2-0-1 before this match. I get in singles and 2-1-1 overall. I don't remember what Darby Allin's was. But back and forth these guys go. Before, like, early in the match, after they get back in the ring, Moxley is just wrecking him. He's getting up on the... He's like, just not taking it seriously. He's like, this is no problem. He's, like, chillaxing on the top turnbuckle while, Allin has trouble getting up. These matches, even though Darby Allin did not win this match, and it was crazy how the fucking way this match ended. But the way they're building Darby Allin up, and the dude's freaking over. You saw on hard camera, a woman had the Darby Allin face paint on, but when Darby Allin was making his entrance, you see a young child with Darby Allin paint on his face, and I'm like, this is TV 14, and kids who WWE is trying to book their shows to appeal to are in the AEW crowd dressed like fucking Darby Allin. And Darby Allin is not catered to the kids. I'm just saying, when you have a TV 14 show and a guy named Darby Allin who dresses with shorts on, with jean shorts on, jorts, whatever the fuck you want to call them, and looks like leggings, and has half of his face painted, is more appealing to kids than anything WWE has put on their product in 10 years. WWE is doing something wrong. I'm just saying. But back and forth, these guys are beating the hell out of each other. Allin looks to get the win for a coffin drop, but goes right into a rear naked choke sleeper, or the coquina clutch, or the Karafuda clutch, depending on who's using it. Allin leans back and goes for the pin attempt. 2 count Moxley and Allin on the second rope. Moxley twists his twists Moxley's fingers, but Moxley bites his face. He goes and hits a top second rope avalanche Death Rider double hook underhook DDT. 1, 2, 3. How the hell Darby Allin did not die in this moment is beyond me. My God, that looked brutal as hell. God damn, that looked terrible. So Jon Moxley is your winner, and the show went off the air. No more shenanigans after everything we saw earlier in the night. So Jon Moxley beats Darby Allin. Hell of a match. Like I said, I like the bar wrestling match. I think it was bar wrestling. Whatever that independent promotion they were. That one seemed a lot better than this one. But I'm not saying it was a bad match. I just like the previous match against each other a lot better. Next week is going to be awesome. It's going to be the day before Thanksgiving. You're going to have you're going to have MJF versus Hangman Page. You're going to have Pac versus Omega. You're going to have the return of Cody after being beat up and strangled out by Wardlow and MJF last week. And, of course, so much more as well. The Jericho thing. We're going to have SCU, Scorpio Sky versus Chris Jericho. Next week looks to be an awesome show. But that is your AEW on TNT review. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Find me on Twitter at The France Club. Find me on twitch.tv/The France Club. Go over and check out the France plays as I'm going through the Red War campaign with my Warlock on Destiny 2, as I foolishly did not record when I did it with my Titans. But hey, everyone makes mistakes. But until then, little programming note, I'm probably going to be doing SmackDown on Friday, NXT TakeOver War Games, and NXT in SummerSlam, Survivor Series. How everything is going right now is going to be done Monday afternoon. I'm going to do a double review on Monday because honestly, SmackDown for me is probably going to be done on Saturday due to things outside of my ability to, things I can control. You got Unscripted on Sunday, and then I'm going to have TakeOver War Games and Survivor Series, which I'll talk about TakeOver War Games tomorrow and Survivor Series as well because I didn't watch NXT tonight, but I'm going to tomorrow, and I already know that they did not name a member for Team Ciampa yet, and the NXT teams for the 2 Survivor Series teams are not named yet, and I am not happy about that. And I'll go over tomorrow why I don't think NXT should be involved in Survivor Series. But until then, my name is France, and I'll see you guys later.